Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Rav Shmuel, Rabbi Stephen Epstein, Rabbi Shmuel ben Yehoshua, Rashbi. How many of you believe in miracles? Now, in Judaism, we kind of don't, and we do. We believe that miracles happened. Song of the Sea, right? Sea of reeds splitting open, miracle. 10 plagues, signs and wonders, miracle. We can also cite other fantastic events from the Torah. How about the war that Abraham sort of got involved in because his nephew Lot was kidnapped? You had four great kings against the five, Sodom, Gomorrah, Amorah, and the other three cities. Abraham got involved, had 300 men, and he was able to rescue Lot. It's a miracle, right? And we can go on and on. But what about today? Are there miracles today? Look at Israel. Many people believe that Israel today is a miracle. The fact that Israel is surviving under these incredibly difficult conditions, being attacked by neighbors, and yet still surviving. Look at what's going on today with Hamas. People all over the world are celebrating what Hamas did. The idea that they went in and, okay, yeah, they slaughtered Israelis, but they're the underdog. People say, well, they had no choice but to defend themselves, and this is what it took. And yet here we still are. And yet people are coming out. There are people coming out and supporting us. There are people that are coming out and that maybe wouldn't have, but they see the reality of Israel being the underdog, Israel is the one being persecuted. Okay, so where am I going with this? I've had miracles in my life. I never really accepted it. People say I'm blessed. And I'm like, okay, well, am I blessed? Yes. Why? Because my wife, Rachel, and I have worked pretty hard to get to where we are. And we've been rewarded for that. So, in a sense, God blessed us for what we did. But when I've had a recent miracle in my life when I found out that I had a daughter, and I know I'm going on about this, and I know I apologize if I'm saying it too much, but you know what? It's just such a wonderful thing. And I just keep going on and on about it. But here's the other miracle. I have met people that actually respect Jews and want to learn Torah. Now, what about teaching Torah to people that aren't Jews? I'm a modern rabbi. I believe that Torah has things for everybody. Doesn't mean I think you should become Jewish, and I would never force that on anybody. I don't believe that. I believe that if you're brought up a certain way, then you adhere to that legacy and that heritage that you've been given. If you want to change, well, that's another matter. Of course, we can do that. But then again, I would never seek to change anybody who didn't want to, or just because somebody's asking me questions about Torah or wants to learn about Judaism. I think that's wonderful. And I'm here to teach them. Judaism has many precepts. Okay. The idea that Rabbi Hillel, said to a guy that wanted to teach him Torah on one foot. Shammai, of course, was kind of irascible. He chased him away. But Hillel said, look, what is hateful to you, don't do to others. The rest of Torah is just commentary. And that's a really good way to live. So, if I say that to somebody, am I teaching them Torah or Talmud? Yes. Am I forcing them to become Jewish? No. Just, it's a good thing. It's a good way to live. Let's just do it. Okay. All right. So, let's talk about a miracle that's happening in this week's portion, Toldot. Now, those of you that have known me and followed me, and again, thank you so much for that. I'm really I'm so humbled that people actually listen to what I say, and I do my best to imbue wisdom. And the one thing I love about learning Torah is my opportunity to pass those things on to other people. I don't believe in just pure learning. I think that when you learn, you should do something with it. And if I can help, if I can be a catalyst or a messenger of Torah to help other people enrich their lives, then I see my role as a rabbi, whether you're Jewish or not. Of course, I want to help Jews become Jews, and let's not forget that. But the fact that there's such wisdom in Judaism is just a wonderful thing. It's a gift that God gave to the world. Okay, so Toldot. Toldot is actually, in my mind, besides being my favorite parsha, because it discusses whether Jacob really fooled Isaac and cheated his brother out of his birthright when Esau, his brother, gave it away for a pot of lentil stew. Okay, that to me is a given. But here's the other thing that people don't talk about a lot. There has been an age old conversation about women and women's place in society. Now, women up to recent times have been relegated to a secondary role. Men are great. Men go out and they fight wars. We are physically stronger than women are. But you know what? Women are biologically stronger. They give birth. They do. And women have the role in Judaism of imbuing societal mores and social graces to the next generation and teaching them morality and ethics. Right? That's why one of the reasons women stay at home. But in Toldot, something happens that really doesn't happen throughout the Torah, and I would challenge anybody to dispute that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. I don't mind people challenging me. I got challenged at a service last week, and you know what? I loved it. I did. Somebody mentioned something about a song we were singing and whether that was appropriate or not. And they didn't do it to put me down. They did it because I'm not used to that. This is what I learned. This is my minchag, the Hebrew word for tradition. This is what we did in previous synagogues, and I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with somebody saying, Rabbi, you're wrong because this is what this other rabbi said. Hey, you get one chance at that and then we're done. Sorry. But, there's a way to approach me and there's a way to not approach me as any other rabbi. But here's what we have in going on in this particular parsha. We have a woman prophetess. We have Rebecca talking directly to God. Now, it says, Vayomer Adonai La, and God said to her. Now, there is some commentary that says if God was talking directly to her, it would have said, Yavayomer La Adonai. It would have switched the words. He said to her, God. And because it was switched around, it means that Rebecca really was in the academy of Shem and Eber. Shem, yes, that's Shem, Noah's son, and Eber, Abraham's ancestor that came across, the Eber from the other side. That's what it means. Tigris-Euphrates River. And these were old guys that taught Torah. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, wait a minute. Torah's not going to be given until Moses climbs Mount Sinai and gets the Ten Commandments. But actually, what is Torah? Torah is God's law. God's law has been as old as God, which is eternal. So it's just that Moses went up and got it written down. But Shem and Eber were righteous men, and they just knew, just like Abraham was a righteous person and just knew what God wanted, just knew what divine justice was all about. So Jacob studied at the academy of Shem and Eber, and Rebecca was at the academy of Shem and Eber when she said, I've got these two kids in my womb, Esau and Jacob, that are fighting with each other, and through them she talked to God. Okay? I don't buy it. Sorry, I do not buy it. I will not take that away from Rebecca. I think she was a righteous woman. I think what she did in making sure that Jacob got the birthright, and Rashi, by the way, I'm studying Rashi this year in my Chumash, mentions that Jacob was conceived first. Conceived first, came out last. That's why Jacob was holding on to Esau's foot. He's like, hey, I was conceived first. I know we're fraternal twins, but my sperm and egg was before yours, so I need to get the birthright. And lo and behold, he got it. And maybe, and another thing Rashi says about this, which I'm glad somebody acknowledges, is that Isaac, when Esau said, well, he deceived me twice, Isaac is like, what do you mean he deceived you twice? And he's like, well, he took my birthright. Well, how did he take your birthright? Well, I gave it to him for the lentils. Oh, well, then I did the right thing. See? So it all worked out. But the fact that Rebecca talked to God and God said, there are two nations in your womb, one will serve the other. She's prophetess. She saw reality. She saw that Jacob was the righteous person. Hence, when Jacob was born and when they grew up and it was time for Isaac to bless them, she instinctively knew it really should be Jacob. So I know I dwell on this year after year, but you know what? It really is my favorite Parsha because it's very, what is it, right? Did she deceive him? Did they not? Was she punished? Was she rewarded? Who knows? You can think about that a little bit yourself. All right. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening, and we will be here. Talk to you again and again. I get comments. Love the comments. Keep those cards and letters coming in. Shabbat Shalom.